Welcome to Breaking the Mould. It's great to be here and do another one. Unfortunately, I don't have Mark here with me today, but really this one's going to be all about Nate Lopez. Before I get to Nate and his great interview that we did back a couple of months ago, I just want to bring you up to speed of some of the things that's going on here. So outside this room, things are getting ripped apart. Today, actually, the roof is just getting pulled off one section of our factory. We're getting a new roof here. We've just been putting in new spray booths. I think 8 new prep booths. We're expanding our space here by about 10,000 square feet. It's a really, really exciting time. So you're going to start to see that over the next few weeks. We're probably going to start, I don't know if we've shared some pictures already, but we certainly will be sharing some content about what we've got going on here. So our factory is just getting a complete overhaul, and that is hugely exciting. You've probably already seen the 3D guitar builder as well, and that's been really exciting. So that has been a portal that we created where you could go in and design your dream emerald guitar. There is so many options in there of colors and different types of carbon, inlays, pickup options, and you get to see them all in a perfect 3D model of the guitar. It's fantastic. If you haven't been in there, please go and check that out. If you have been in there and you have checked it out, please drop a little note in the comments and tell us how you've experienced that and what you've been thinking about it. I know at the start there maybe was a few glitches, but I think it's running all pretty smooth now, and yeah, it's been a really exciting thing for us. On the back of that, what I've been trying to do as well is bring everything that was pre-builder right up to current specs. So if you've been on our website now, you'll see there's been a few tweaks that we've made in terms of specs. Changing some of our pickup options. We've also rationalized a lot of our custom options. So we're given a more limited range of custom features on our website now. And that really is because a lot of the custom work that was being done was done purely by me. And it was really hard for me to find a way to kind of pass that on to some others. So what we've decided to do is we're rationalizing that. We were given some very specific custom options and still quite a lot of options. But some of the crazy things that I had been personally doing, like the triple necks and the custom neck configurations and some of the more complex stuff, I'm stopping doing that. So I've been working pretty heavily along with the team over the last number of weeks to try and get all those custom projects out of the way, get them all cleared up to date. Any of the ones that anybody's been waiting a longer period of time, we're going to get those all done now. And within the next week or two, I think everything will be within a 2-month window. So yeah, within the next 2 weeks, we're hoping that everything that was ordered pre-builder launch, which was St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, will be done and dusted and out the door. And we're starting, I guess, in some ways, post-builder orders. So that's exciting. So that's the main news around here. And if you've been following the Emerald story, things change pretty fast. And there's more new things on the way. I think probably by the time this comes out, very shortly after, you're going to be seeing the launch of the Weissenborn. That's coming very soon as well. And that's something that I worked on in the lockdown way back a year ago. So finally that's come to fruition, and that's going to be added into the builder. We're going to have other models that are being added into the builder in the coming days with our harp guitars, and yeah, lots of cool things going on. So that's it. You don't need to hear anything more from me, and we'll go right into the Zoom video with Nate Lopez.
Hey, Nate.
Hey, how you doing?
Morning.
Good to see you. Nice shirt.
Likewise.
Yeah, of course.
Is that recording on your end?
I see that it's recording over here, yeah.
Okay. Should we catch this? How you doing?
Yeah, great. It's such a trip. I love how I have like a totally black background and you have this beautiful sunny day behind you there. Yeah, no, man, I'm doing okay. It's been a little cold for us here in Northern California, but we've been all right, hanging out inside and making some music and making the most of it. How you been?
We've been good here too. It's definitely a little bit of a strange time, but we're making the best of it too. Right now, it's blue skies. It's like California weather.
Yeah,
It's crisp but blue skies. This is the best time of the year if we get nice sunny days. But They don't come along all the time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, you got to appreciate it whenever you do. And it's been strange too. We've had, it's super cold out for us anyway. It's like what, 40 degrees, 50 degrees, whatever. But it's been some. We've had some like summer days as well in the last few weeks, which is weird. Everything's weird. Everything's strange this last year, and everybody just kind of goes with it. We're like, okay, I guess that's how that goes. So
I guess that's the only thing we can do. We just have to go along with it, ride the journey. So breakfast.
Yeah.
I got my coffee.
Nice.
No, I was just thinking the last time we had breakfast together. So if you're watching this, it's 9 a.m. here. It's 1 a.m. with you.
Cheers.
And so this was out of the best time. It's always tricky with the time differences, trying to work out what's the best time to catch people. But
yeah. You give me the option of 8 a.m. or 1 a.m. and I tell you, I'm a lot more functional at 1 a.m. 1 a.m. I've been hanging out, I've been playing all day, been relaxing, and maybe thinking about going to bed soon. But 8 a.m. Oh, good Lord, no, that's too early.
It's a funny thing because we always struggle with this because we're always doing business with people in the USA. Mm-hmm. And I think we probably answer more emails and more communication first thing in the morning here with people in the USA than we do it in the afternoon. So I guess it's people that are up really, really late. We're always looking at people's time zones. 4 a.m. You know, it's about a guitar, so it's musicians for you.
Right. Yeah. No, I get some strange messages sometime, and I'm like, "What are you doing up at 6:30? What the hell?"
Just coming back from a gig.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Winding down.
So I was just thinking, last time we had breakfast together, Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles in Anaheim after NAMM show, and I just couldn't believe that eating fried chicken for breakfast was a thing.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. I tell you what. No, I've had so many. There's this one place that does it where it's like a taco where they have the waffle kind of all shaped up, and then you put your chicken and your hot sauce and your hot syrup and just kind of eat it up like that. Oh man, I love me some chicken and waffles. That was good times. It was so cool to get a chance to do that. I mean, we didn't have NAMM this year. We had just the virtual NAMM, which just wasn't the same. I tried to attend it, but we had a fantastic NAMM last year. That was really great.
It was good
to do that and meet up and such great music.
Yeah, and NAMM, I think that's always the cool thing about NAMM. It's food, it's people, it's getting to meet old friends and just hanging out. So I definitely missed that this year. It's I think everybody has been. I've never seen so many NAMM memories being shared.
Right.
Everybody's gone back through their Facebook profile and sharing the memories, and so we're kind of living on the past, but we have to look to the future. So I think that's what we should focus on a little bit in this conversation too. Is the future? What you got planned coming up? Definitely want to talk to you about your guitar, not just your Emerald guitar, but your other guitars and guitars in general, because we're all kind of guitar nerds and guitar geeks. Sure. So maybe we can tell some of our audience that are going to be watching this a little bit about fan frets and the ergonomics of an extended range guitar and how you approach that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I'm way into it.
And you got some new music coming out as well, so we can maybe talk about that.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I just released a single in December, and so we can talk about that. I can play it for you if you want. I can do any playing. I'm all set up or whatever you want. And I've got a new EP coming out, and then also a new album coming out. So all kinds of stuff. Very
cool. So the first question I have for you is: are you a guitar player or are you a bass player?
I'm a bass player. So the story is I come from kind of a musical family. My mom and her mom played piano. I think probably her mom's mom played piano, and my dad didn't play instrument, but he played guitar, or his uncle played guitar. His brother played guitar, my uncle. So anyway, I played piano at a very early age, just for a little bit, but I wasn't really into it. And I inherited a guitar from my uncle when I was about 14 or so, and I started playing bass lines on it. So I just really was drawn to that kind of groove, old like Creedence Clearwater bass lines and Black Sabbath bass lines and Santana and that kind of stuff. So I was like, okay, this is kind of fun. So then when it came time to actually go to Guitar Center in this case, to get an instrument. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to get myself a bass. This sounds like fun. My friend has a guitar. I'll get a bass. This will be great. And I hear that bass players are in more need than guitar players. Apparently, guitar players are everywhere, but bass players, oh, no, you need to go get a bass. So I did that and played for many years in different bands and metal bands and Latin bands and all kinds of different stuff. And then added a few more strings to my bass, and then eventually came to this kind of hybrid instrument here that you made for me. And I really enjoyed having both the bass, most of the bass, 3/4 of the bass, and some guitar as well. So I think it's the best of both worlds.
Well, I guess it gives you an audience in every genre, and you can probably get into just about every guitar magazine. You can get into the bass ones. You say, hey, I'm a bassist. I'm a 10th range guitar player when I'm talking to guitars.
Yeah, I've done a couple bass extravaganzas with some bass players, 4-string bass players, and I'm the only guy doing this kind of thing. I've been in some Bass Musician magazine. I did a feature in them and a couple other places, and I consider myself a bassist. I'm never not really playing the bass. It's kind of all about that bass, even if it's a simple bass line, even if it's just a root note kind of holding things down. I think it just gives everything a context. And I think that's a beautiful thing. It's important, especially if you're solo, like I usually am playing solo.
Yeah. So I guess it just depends on whether you count the strings from the bottom up or the top down.
Right. I guess that's a good point. Yeah. I'm always trying to talk to students about that. Like, wait, no, this is the low string. I'm like, no, lowest in pitch. Yeah.
That's very cool. So yeah, we should definitely jump in fairly soon and early on this and just talk about the guitar that we built for you, because that's where we connected, and you came asking me about could I build an 8-string fan fret, and probably when you ask a lot of guitar companies that sort of thing, you don't get a response, or it's a pretty muted response. But that's what I love to do. I love kind of jumping in on extended range stuff. So tell me about the concept of the guitar and maybe how we came towards this guitar. What was the journey into it from previous instruments and things?
This is a very, very special guitar to me, and the guitar I play really kind of all the time. I have this right by my couch, and then I bring it to the studio, and I just really love this instrument. As far as how I came to it, like I was saying, I was always interested in modifying different instruments, like adding strings to my bass and this and that, 5-string, 6-string basses. But I saw Charlie Hunter playing this kind of three bass string, 5 guitar string instrument, and it just made a lot of sense to me. So I kind of started going in that direction, and his custom instrument was made by Novaks. So I ended up getting a Novaks, and at that time there were very few fan fret guitars, heavy metal, gent, and 8-string, and Tosin Abasi, and that stuff was just kind of hadn't even really come out yet. So it was hard to find in kind of 8-string. So at that time, you could say, oh, what is that? Oh, that's an 8-string guitar. It's 3 bass strings and 5 guitar strings, and that's what an 8-string guitar was. Because there was nothing else. So I got myself a Novaks and played in that, and it's the same tuning as this. I really like this tuning. I experimented with some different tunings, but this EAD and ADGBE, it really makes a lot of sense to me, because like you said, what perspective are you looking at? I'm looking at the strings down. I want to look at an E string, or else it's confusing. I've played, like I said, 6-string bass, 5-string bass with a low B string, and that's the hardest thing to adjust. Up here, it's easier, but down there, it's a little harder. So anyway, I played that Novaks for a little bit, and eventually needed an acoustic instrument, because all my acoustic instruments, I was modifying 12-string guitars, trying to throw bass strings on there, shimming up the nuts, moving the nuts over here, moving the saddles over here. I've done all kinds of disgusting things and some beautiful things a little bit, just to try and make it happen and try and have that acoustic thing. But what really got me excited, I've been wanting an acoustic guitar for a while. And like you said, you contact different manufacturers about the 8-string hybrid, and sometimes they're like, oh, well, I've never done fan fret, I've never done this, I've never done that, but let's give it a shot. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know about that. Maybe, I don't mind if you don't normally do this, because not a lot of people do this, but I want to have, a little bit of a background. So I think it was when I saw that, I think it was Japanese art 9-string fan fret carbon fiber guitar. Yeah, I saw that, and I'd been looking for a while for an acoustic fan fret, and when I saw that I was like, oh, this is just such a work of art, beautiful. If they can do this, then surely they can do what I want here. and it just was really impressive. And I eventually got to play that. And we were talking about our NAMM memories, and I got to go look back the memories of getting to finally play that instrument. And it was really neat. I mean, I knew I wanted carbon fiber for a lot of different reasons. There's so much tension on the bridge here with these extra bass strings and everything. So I didn't want to have to worry about things bubbling up as much and temperature changes, because I would like to go out and play in New Orleans, go out and play in Hawaii, all that kind of thing, and wanted to be stable. And this thing is, you know, I'll often tell people the story about playing a gig. I played a gig in Napa at night, and then I got on the plane that night and went to Maui. I played the gig that night, and I went to Maui the next morning and got off the plane and played a gig, and I didn't even have to retune. This instrument just stayed
just crazy,
the whole time. And it's just fantastic. So yeah, like I said, you know, you found that instrument, that 9-string, and I knew you could do something like this, and we started talking, and you got it ready for me in time for my gig at the NAMM show, and it was just fantastic, man, and it has been.
And that was a great gig. I enjoyed watching you play that. I think that was one of my highlights that year. Well, that year actually had lots of highlights, because
right.
I mean, you were kind of there. You were there for a lot of. Actually, you've been there in a lot of my little highlights. And we'll have to find a way to insert. We'll have to insert that picture of you photobombing me and Steve Vai at last year's NAMM show. Definitely, that was a huge NAMM highlight. Yeah, we've had some really cool NAMM highlights, but yeah, that was a really cool gig. You playing there at NAMM on the in the Hilton lobby.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. I think a lot of people might have seen electric fan fret guitars, and certainly now, I think right now it's, you know, it is all the extended range electric fan fret guitars.
Right.
You know, and I guess it makes a lot of sense whenever they're wanting to get into those really, really low tunings. To me, I think acoustic is where it actually has the biggest benefit. I think for acoustic guitars, it's an amazing thing, because, like you say, you've got a low E string on there, and right up to high E string of a guitar, all on one neck, and they all have a sound. If you were to put them all at a 25.5-inch scale, or trying to stretch the high E up to a 30-inch scale or something like that, you're just going to really suffer in some way, either being too low or too high a tension. So it really creates a big difference. That's why we do it on the 7 strings a lot. And right now, today, I'm working on an 8-string fan fret guitar and a 9-string fan fret. The 8 string's a little bit different than yours. It's a 27 to 23.5-inch scale, so we've kind of gone much shorter on the treble side. So that's going to allow us to go up actually to high A. Right.
Nice.
Yeah, so he's going ADG and then DGBEA.
Oh, cool.
So it's kind of going like really from baritone scale up into,
right. That's really nice. I can't wait to see that. That'll be really cool.
So that's going to be a cool one. And then I'm doing a 9-string, and it's he wants that tune GAD and then EADGBEA.
Oh, wow.
So again, and that's interesting to me as well. Is everybody kind of has a different approach, and maybe it's the style of music that they're planning to play on it. And, whenever I'm asked about what's your standard fan fret scale, we don't really, we tend to, we have a couple of standards that we work around a lot, but then we branch into all kinds of things depending on what the specific tunings and string gauges and things will be. The other thing was interesting in yours, because the 9-string I'm working on right now, it's 72 millimeters at the nut. So it's a big wide neck.
Oh no. Yeah, it's too much for me.
Yeah. So yours, I remember we were having this discussion back and forth. It's like, are you sure you want it that tight?
Right.
Because it's just around about, is it about 2 inches at the nut?
Yeah, I think it's right about 2 inches. I haven't measured it in a while, but yeah, I think it's right about there. And I think that comes from playing the Novaks, which I think is about 2 1/8 or a little bit bigger, 2 1/4 maybe even at the nut. And I'm playing it, and I'm kind of moving the strings together a little tighter. And I'm like, I could go with less. I could do less and still get in there. And this is really, really comfortable. And I ended up, doing, like you said, there's other guitars and keeping that same 2 inches. And I think that's just very, very comfortable. It works out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when I saw it finished, then it kind of made a bit of sense to me. The other thing that's cool on that guitar, and I think it just is such a distinctive look. It was the first time I think I did it, was the 3 bass tuners on the on the top side, on the bass side, and then the guitar tuners. I think that headstock looks so cool.
Oh, I love this. Yeah, this is fantastic. It's shape, the form follows function, and it's not too much. It's not all over the place. I don't have an extra wing kind of going off around the corner. And so it's really fantastic. I'm very comfortable with it, and it's easy to use and it works well. Yeah, I love it.
So tell us a little bit about your music and your musical style. You kind of slide across a few genres.
Yeah, well, my musical style, it's all kind of based on everything I do, like that song, everything I'm going to do from now on going to be funky. I'm kind of into the funk groove type of stuff, and blues music is definitely very deep into genre. So no matter what I end up playing, whether it's jazz or rock or Latin music or, pop music or anything like that, it's always going to come out a little bit of that style is going to have some of that in there. And as far as my style, as far as writing music, everything kind of comes around a groove or a concept. Maybe I'll just be playing something just like a... just something that feels good, whatever feels good at the moment. I try and really honor whatever is coming in inspiration-wise at the moment. Like, I may be thinking about trying to write this kind of song, but if all I want to do is just kind of sit back and play some sort of fun groove and let that develop, I just should let that happen, let that inspiration come in. So yeah, everything that I write is kind of groove-based for the most part, and kind of jazz-based in the way that I'll write a short melody and then kind of solo over those changes for the most part, those chord changes, and then play the short melody again and kind of have that form. So it's all coming from that jazz background, even though it's not going to be, the typical, it's not that kind of older jazz so much. I don't really do that, but I still consider it jazz because it's still kind of modern stuff. And I love playing cover tunes just because I like hearing the tunes, I love playing a tune from, I don't even know, all my favorite groups, whether it's someone from Metallica or Nirvana to Otis Redding to, Marvin Gaye, anything like that. I love hearing those tunes, and I like being able to manipulate that a little bit. Yeah. So I love kind of doing my own covers and my own arrangements. I have to do my own arrangements because not a lot of people are doing covers on an instrument like this. So I don't have enough people to rip off in that sense. So I end up doing a lot of different arrangements just out of wanting to hear the song. Yeah. So it's all my favorite stuff from so many different genres. So. And
I think it is really cool whenever you hear something like that is like really, really familiar to you, but you're like, wow, this is so different. Yeah. You're in a totally different way, and it just connects music, I think, in a different way, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's really interesting. Well, it's really neat. I think when a cover artist does a interpretation of the song, especially if it's not a dead-on cover, if it's kind of their own take on it, you get to hear how they hear it. And that's really neat. And maybe there's this one part in the background that you never paid attention to. You didn't pay attention to the background singer. But that's the most important part of the song to that person. And they highlight that in their thing. And so I've always really enjoyed different versions of covers, whether it's a bluegrass version of a metal song or, anything like that, an electronic version of a pop song, anything like that. I'm really interested to hear that. And I get a lot of inspiration from that. Start playing a song. I'll hear a new interpretation of it and I'm like, oh, I never even thought to do a song like that. So maybe I can bring this song to life instrumentally. Yeah. Which is its own challenge.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite albums is one that I picked up in Nashville years and years and years ago randomly. It's Luther Right and the Wrongs, Rebuilding the Wall. And it's Pink Floyd's The Wall done bluegrass style.
No.
You got to go look for it. It's just the coolest thing.
Yeah, see, I love that. You can get reggae, Pink Floyd, and that kind of stuff, and I just eat that up. For years, I've been collecting CDs. I was a big CD guy, hundreds and hundreds, and always all about anything like that. I mean, get my hands on every version of a song I liked.
Yeah, and it is funny because it's the same music and it's so recognizable, and you're just like, I didn't even hear it. Like you're saying, it's like you pick up on something totally different. It's the different sections of the music is just done and interpreted in a different way. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So outside the Emerald, tell me about, you got another really cool electric extended range guitar at the moment.
Yeah, I have my, and it's a Nate Lopez signature model. It's an NL8 and it's a hollow body. Yeah, that's a lot of fun. That's a neat guitar. I really enjoy that. I like the hollow body. You still get a lot of that acoustic sound, but not too many acoustic issues like size or feedback, and you don't get too much acoustic sound because maybe you want to rock out and have that kind of distorted sound. And distorted sound on acoustic can sound really neat. I mean, you can do some cool things, but it has its own sound. You know, if you want to get that Steve Vai type of sound or something, you can't quite do that on the acoustics. So so it's nice to have that, and I really enjoy that. It's a headless model. It's an 8-string tuned the same. All of my guitars that I play now are like that, and pretty much what I play is this and that one, and I have a travel version of the same thing as well, the hollow body. So it's just kind of a stick version.
Yeah, I saw that. That's really neat.
Yeah, I like that. It's great. And you know, if you're going to take it overseas or something like that, normally I'm able to talk them out of putting my guitar into the overhead bin or under the plane. I'm like, no, let me take it into the overhead bin. Come on, and they let me. But sometimes, especially those small flights in Europe, there's nothing. You know, that's all you get. There is no overhead bin. So you got to check your guitar, and I feel good about checking just a little block of wood.
Yeah, it's certainly a little bit easier way to go. Although the beauty with the carbon is it is harder to kill.
Oh no, I feel fantastic about it. I take this out on tour. I've taken out to New Orleans and taken out to Hawaii many times, and a few other places as well. Yeah, it's fantastic. The case works really well, and I feel great about it. I never slack the keys for tuning or never worry about anything like that. And I get to play while I'm waiting for the plane as well. So that's like the best part. So
you're entertaining everybody as they're waiting to check in.
So entertaining, bothering. Yes, it depends on what I'm working on.
I'd like to be there for that flight. So tell me what you've got planned, and it's hard to plan at the moment. You know, we've been trying to plan all year, and you make a plan, and 2 weeks later that all has to change. But you know, so what's the 2021 got for Nate Lopez?
Yeah, well, like you said, I mean, you know, things are going back and forth. I didn't have too many gigs booked. You know, like the festivals that got canceled in 2020 are trying to decide if they're going to happen in 2021. So I don't know about any of that stuff. But what I do know is I'm going to be spending more time inside than I normally do. So just focusing on making the most of that, which really means focusing on recording both audio and video. You know, it can be at times difficult to be inspired. You can be motivated, but inspiration sometimes can be difficult if you know the news is getting you down or anything like that. It can be hard. But everything is an emotion, and as artists, you know, you can do something with that. And maybe it's not necessarily what you intended to do, but it's something. You know, it's a translation of that kind of emotion. So during some of these trying times over the last year, I've tried to go into the studio and just make the most of it and try and record in high quality. And whether it's an improvisation or a take on a favorite tune or something like that, I'm kind of putting a couple different things together. So yeah, I just released a new single tune called Couch Time. And it's just a solo instrumental 8-string thing here without any overdubs. And it's that whole idea of, you know, we've had to spend so much time on the couch this year. Let's just make the most of it and enjoy it. And I think the picture of Couch Time, my single, is my dog just passed out on the couch, just relaxing. Because, you know, and just enjoying that. I've been really enjoying my animals and my wife, of course, hanging out, and it's fantastic. So, and my instruments, and so just enjoying spending that time there and trying to catch that kind of mood. So yeah, I just released that, and that's on all the platforms. And I've got another EP coming out, and another full-length album as well. The EP kind of just is starting to come together in the last few weeks, actually.
Well, that's cool that you're able to use that time productively. And it is so easy to just kind of get into that rut, and you let time slip.
Oh, I do that too. Don't worry, there's plenty of that. It's just trying to find that balance.
Get the balance
back to productivity. So, but you know, if you put the time in there and you hit record, then something will come out of it. You'll learn something.
And you've been doing some of your online gigs as well. You've been doing some Facebook Lives and that sort of thing. How have you been finding that?
Well, I've been finding it necessary is really the biggest thing, you know, because I've had to completely change my practice routine. Typically, I'll play at home and I'll practice for a few hours, and then I'll go play a gig for a few hours. And then I'll come home and I'm gigging, you know, 3-5 times a week, something like that. So I'm getting a fair amount of gigs. And that is my practice time, going through that. And then when I'm home, I don't practice songs, I just practice exercises or writing or this and that. So once all those gigs stopped all of a sudden, I had to reconstruct my practice routine kind of completely and start practicing songs at home. And I found that the live stream, just as much as I think it's kind of our duty and it's nice to provide music to everybody who is also stuck at home, I also do it for myself to keep the chops up and to see if I remember how to play this song. And sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. But I try and do it every week, Wednesdays at 6 o'clock Pacific time, which is terrible for Ireland. It's like the worst time. So I do a couple other ones earlier sometimes too.
Yeah, I think I've probably hit one or two along the way, but mostly it's not live.
Yeah. I try and leave them up a little bit, but that's the other thing is I try not to leave the live stream up for too long because I want to have that essence of live music where it's here and then it's not here anymore. So many things these days are just out there and picked apart and just kept on there. We just need it can come and go and be what it was.
Yeah, it is a nice little snapshot in time, and I always enjoy just like dipping into them when I stumble across somebody and you make that comment and the musicians commenting back to you, and like you feel like you're the cool person in the crowd that just got a shout out.
Right, exactly.
It's so it's always cool. So I think having the online presence through all this has been really incredible, and being able to just keep connected.
Yes, absolutely. And I forgot to mention, earlier, my guitars that I was talking about are made by LHT guitars. I should probably mention like who actually makes the guitars.
Yeah, sure.
We're talking about those headless ones. So those are made by LHT guitars.
Yeah, really, and it's a really cool guitar. I really dig it. Great ergonomics on it. I love the design, the overall shape.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is very, very similar. What is this? This scale length is what, I think 25 and a half to 28 or 25 to 28 and a half, something like that.
Yes, or was it 26 to 28 and a half? Something in around there.
You don't remember the scale length of every single guitar you've ever made? No.
I shouldn't laugh. Sorry. I forgot
And the guitar from LHT Guitars was slightly longer. I know we did a 25 to 29. So it's a little bit more of a tweak kind of over here at the nut. So that's interesting. So there's like that slight bit of adjustment going back and forth, but it's interesting to have that difference.
Yeah, it's almost like a competition with some people. How big is your fan?
Right.
Do you have 3 inches on your fan, or an inch and a half, or?
Right, exactly. And then some people are extra cool as well. They're like, I got a 1/4 inch fan. It's very mild, but it's important. Like just you've been in there.
That stretches me. It just stretches me just a little bit.
Right. I hear you.
Yeah, that's called an intonated nut and saddle.
Right.
That's not fan frets. But there's a lot to know about the whole fan fret world, and it's interesting because we'll get some people that'll come on and they'll like know exactly what they want. I want this scale length. I want the parallel nut at a certain fret, and or the parallel fret at a certain number, and that's a really important thing, because it changes the angle at the nut and at the saddle. And then you get other people that come on and I just want fan frets.
Right.
So what's your reason for it? Is it do you want extra tension on the bass? Do you want like lighter treble? Are you trying to do lower tunings? No, I just think it look cool.
Right.
That's a really good answer. I'm totally okay with that answer because they do look cool.
I think so. I think they look fantastic. I mean, I think it makes a lot of sense and it's very ergonomical. And yeah, I mean, I often when, I'll be on Facebook or one of those groups and they'll be talking about, oh, should I do fan fret? Should I not do fan fret? And I always advocate for fan fret. I don't think I would get another guitar necessarily that's not fan fret. Maybe I would, but I really enjoy this. It works really well. I mean, it's amazing the tight punchiness, the tightness of the bass here. And not just the tightness, because we talk a lot about, string tension with it, but when when the bass is allowed to be so long, the harmonics and overtones ring out better and it sounds better in tune, and I really, really appreciate it and really enjoy it. I mean, I think that's the way to go for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very cool thing. So travel, we both like to travel. I know you like to travel. You mentioned you do a lot in Hawaii. I know you've been over to Europe and had hopes to maybe come back to Europe again.
I was planning on it in 2020. That was the plan. It was in there.
So yeah, so pardon me. Hopefully we will get you back over here to Ireland again. That's kind of the plan and the hope, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, as soon as we can. My wife and I are on we're a little more cautious, as cautious as we can at the moment. So that's what we do, and but we're looking forward to traveling as soon as possible. We're getting vaccines here in the U.S. and once that time happens, we're gonna start going everywhere. And I can't wait to get back out and get to playing and interacting and eating food and hanging out and seeing friends. It'll be great.
You find that kind of fits into your music? Is it, do you get inspired by locations, surroundings, people,
Oh yeah, I mean absolutely. So much inspiration because it's especially when you go to different countries all around Europe and anywhere really, when the culture is so stylized, the culture is its own thing. In the US you have different states and it's vastly different, but it's kind of different flavors of similar things. Whereas here we're going to different languages and this has been around for this many hundred of years and just so long, and it's impressive, and it leaves a mark on you and it changes you. And if it changes you, then it changes your music.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really, my wife and I really value experiences and just getting out there an awful lot. So really looking forward to doing that and making the most of everything.
Yeah, well, let's hope we can do that. That's one of my big hopes. Get back to travel. We're in a beautiful place here. It's hard to feel hard done by that we have to stay here all the time. And you're in a beautiful location too, but it's nice to mix it up and see around the world.
Yeah, I find just even a nice drive around makes a big difference.
Well, we can't even do that right now because we've got a 5K restriction here, so 5 kilometers. That's as far as we're allowed to go on a journey unless it's for essential reasons.
Oh wow!
So
that's intense.
Yeah, it's pretty intense, but it's we had a big spike in Ireland back in the beginning of January. There, we were at one stage the worst in the world. I think it just had escalated so fast, but it's come right down. So we're all trying to be cautious and get this thing under control and get back to normal life.
That's fantastic. Yeah. No, I hope for you all to be as safe as possible and just stay healthy and stay safe for everybody. Yeah, that's the best for everything.
So Nate, do you want to play some music for us? I don't know how it's going to work out on a Zoom meeting like this, but yeah, we can make it work.
Yeah, sure. I don't know if we can play along together. I've had a few people try. It doesn't always work. But yeah, I'll definitely play something here for you. Why not? Let's see here. I'll play maybe a little bit of an improvisation and maybe go into that new tune, Couch Time, in a second here.
Wow.
Right. A
Man,
little bit of this and
you know how to get me.
that. Just a little bit, just a little bit.
Man, that song is so cool. I listened to it this morning, and it just chills you right out, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, no, it's nice. Well, it's so fresh and open and inspiring that it's nice. You know, anything that makes you feel good, I think helps you play a little better.
And you threw in a little bit of whispering and prayer in there. It always does it. It makes the hair stand up my arms. It does every time I
Yeah.
hear that song.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I love that. Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much.
Whether
Yeah.
whether played by Steve or played by you, it both. Yeah. And so you sent me a version of that. I think was it St. Patrick's Day last year?
I think so. I think so. Yeah.
I think it was.
Almost a year ago.
Yeah, that was so cool.
Oh, that was fun. No, I love that.
So Nate, let's we can leave it at that. It's been really, really good to catch up. I can't wait to do it in person.
Oh
And
man, no, that's great. I don't really talk to people so much. You know, I talk at people with my live streams, but I don't get a chance to talk with people. So it's nice, man. I think I'm out of practice, so I appreciate it, man. It's nice to get a chance to chat with you.
it's been a good time. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it for real very soon. And whether in California or here, wouldn't take very much to get me to California now. If it was legal and safe, I'd be there.
Oh, it would take very little for me to get out to you as well. So yeah, I'm sure I'll look forward to us hanging out in person soon.
We'll definitely catch up soon. Nate, it's been a pleasure. Keep playing music. Keep playing guitar. We'll see you soon.
Cheers, brother.
So I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Nate. I certainly did. It's always good to talk to him and always good to hear some of his music. So you may have noticed one big change. Back when I recorded that video 2 months ago, I had no beard, and I've been growing this ever since. So I thought everybody else in the building has been growing these COVID lockdown beards, and I decided I'm going to join in the same thing, and I actually quite like it. Kim doesn't like it, on the other hand. So guys, I need your help. I think we need 1,000 likes and comments in here demanding that the beard stays. Fight for my beard for me. Gotta help me, guys. Help me, please. Save the beard. See you next week.